The cabin door closes, the noise of the world disappears, and for the next 13 hours, this 50 square feet of engineered silence is the most expensive room in the sky. This is not a seat with extra legroom. This is not a flat bed with a better pillow. This is something the commercial aviation industry has never quite produced before. A sealed, private cabin suspended at cruising altitude where the architecture of solitude has been built from scratch. Singapore Airlines sells exactly 6 of these suites per flight, and at approximately $14,000 USD for a one-way ticket on select routes, every departure generates more revenue from this single cabin than most carriers earn from their entire economy class combined. The aircraft is the Airbus A380, the only commercial jet wide-bodied enough to accommodate a product this architecturally ambitious. That physical constraint is not incidental, it is the entire premise. The experience does not begin at the gate. It does not begin at the terminal. For private suite passengers departing Singapore Changi Airport, it begins at a dedicated check-in facility removed entirely from the main concourse, a space designed to eliminate every friction point that public travel imposes. There are no queues. There are no announcements overhead. A personal butler handles documentation, luggage, and boarding formalities, while the passenger occupies a lounge that functions less like an airport amenity and more like the anteroom of a private members' club. Passengers are then transferred directly to the aircraft via a private vehicle on the tarmac, bypassing the aero bridges used by all other cabin classes. This private transfer service was introduced as part of the redesigned suite product launch in 2018. The choreography is deliberate. Before a single foot is placed on the aircraft, the psychological contract has already been signed. This journey operates by different rules, different rhythms, and a different definition of what air travel is supposed to feel like. The suite itself measures approximately 50 square feet of floor space, making it the largest private enclosure available on any scheduled commercial flight. The doors, full-height sliding panels, are perhaps the defining feature. They do not merely divide space, they eliminate the shared environment entirely. Once closed, the occupant is insulated from the cabin crew aisle, from adjacent passengers, from any visual reminder that there are other people on this aircraft at all. The design firm responsible for the suite interiors is JPA Design, a London-based aviation design studio. Inside, the engineering prioritizes sensory regulation above all else. The seat converts to a full-length bed measuring 35 inches wide, fitted with a mattress topper and bedding produced in collaboration with Lalique. The suite wall panels are finished in materials chosen as much for their acoustic properties as their visual texture. Even the lighting system operates across a spectrum calibrated to support circadian rhythm, a feature borrowed from sleep science research and applied to a pressurized aluminum tube moving at approximately 900 kilometers per hour. When 2 suites are booked together, what Singapore Airlines designates as the double bed configuration, the dividing panel between suites 1A and 2A or 1F and 2F can be lowered entirely, creating a shared sleeping space. This feature transforms 2 adjacent private rooms into something approaching a hotel suite at altitude. It is a product feature aimed with precision at a very specific type of traveler, couples or business partners, for whom the concept of privacy does not preclude the concept of company. The culinary program operates on a logic that has more in common with a Michelin-starred tasting menu than an airline meal service. The menu is developed in collaboration with a panel of internationally recognized chefs under Singapore Airlines International Culinary Panel, Gordon Ramsay, Georges Blanc, and Sanjeev Kapoor. Dishes are plated to order. Champagne, Krug Grande Cuvée, among the champagne selections in suites class, arrives in crystal stemware. The timing of service is entirely at the passenger's discretion. There is no trolley. There is no set meal time. There is only a preference, communicated once, and then executed with the precision of a restaurant that has exactly 1 table. Behind this precision is a staffing ratio that would be financially indefensible in any other context. The number of cabin crew assigned to the suites cabin means that each passenger has access to near-immediate, individualized attention for the duration of the flight. Singapore Airlines dedicates significantly more cabin crew to the suites class than to any other cabin. These crew members are not generalists pulled from other classes. They are specialists trained in protocols that emphasize discretion, anticipation, and the studied art of being present without being visible. Singapore Airlines has held the title of World's Best Airline at the Skytrax World Airline Awards multiple times over its history, and the suites product is frequently cited as the material reason that reputation holds. But the airline's position at the apex of commercial luxury is not merely a consequence of investment. It is a consequence of culture. Singapore Airlines operates under a national mandate as a government-linked company in which Temasek Holdings holds a majority stake to represent the country's international brand. The suite's cabin is, among other things, a piece of national identity, pressurized and sent skyward. The post-pandemic travel landscape has amplified demand for exactly what the private suite offers. Research published across the luxury travel industry in 2023 and 2024 consistently identifies privacy and the elimination of shared space as the dominant driver of ultra-premium travel spending, surpassing even destination as a purchasing motivation for high-net-worth individuals. The pandemic did not create this psychology. It accelerated and codified what was already forming, a preference among those who can afford it for curated distance from the public as a luxury good in its own right. This is what separates the private suite from its competitors in a way that specifications alone cannot capture. The suite is not simply the most well-appointed seat in the sky. It is a coherent argument about what commercial aviation could theoretically become for every passenger, and a demonstration that the gap between that vision and current reality is not technical, it is economic. The technology exists, the craftsmanship exists, the question is only whether the price point descends or whether the private suite remains permanently rare by design. At 35,000 feet, cruising somewhere over the Indian Ocean or the South China Sea, the suite passenger exists in a condition that has no precise historical analog, not quite the first-class rail compartments of the 20th century, not quite the private staterooms of the great ocean liners. Something new, a room that moves at speed, that shrinks geography, that insulates its occupant from the noise of mass transit while remaining, technically, a form of it. The door is closed, the world is outside. $14,000 buys the flight. What it actually purchases is harder to quantify. A temporary architecture of stillness, a window seat with walls, the experience of being alone in a crowd at altitude. Whether that represents the future of luxury aviation or its logical ceiling is a question the market is still in the process of answering. For now, 6 suites per departure continue to fill, and the door continues to close.